Hello and welcome to my channel. I thought today we'd do some heavy metal turning on my knee lathe. Let's get into that. You know as well as I do, you're not going to put this piece of metal in that lathe. But I am going to cut off about an 8-inch long part and throw it in there. I need to make 4 risers about 1 1/8 inch long. This is 1.5 inch diameter, and the diameter needs to be somewhere between 1 1/4 and 1.5. So let's get over to the saw and just cut off an 8-inch piece right away. Let's do this. All right, the part's out of the saw. I believe this is 4140 pre-hard, which is going to be very challenging for this little lathe. Not as heavy anymore now that I cut it off, but let's get into this. Like I said, I already set this up while thing was sawing. Alright, nice and flat. Let's take a cut on the OD just for something to grab on. I need to go about 1/4 inch. Okay, I have my OD cut and my part face. I can turn this around. Let me do that. I swear every time I turn this on, it sounds like it's louder and louder. Let's do this. it's not too bad. Once I get into a straight cut, it does not like that interrupted cut. I only have a little bit more to straighten that out, and then we'll put a center in it. Alright, I put a center in my tailstock here. Alright. Okay, I got a nice deep center in there. I'll put a center in my tailstock and then take this steady rest out of there. Let's do that. Okay, I just want to take a skim cut across here. To get this nail off of here, it's a rough cut. Just put in this little machine through some problems. It didn't clean up completely. And out here, towards the tailstock end, it looks pretty rough. I'm going to run it a little slower and see what happens. It's a 10 thousandths cut. It's really vibrating. I wonder if I put a dead center in there instead of this here. Let's try that. All right, I found a dead center. I'm going to try that, but this is extreme. It's really vibrating. I'm not sure this lathe can handle this piece of steel sticking out so far. I've never made any upgrades like on the bearings or anything on the compound or saddle other than making sure that it rides smooth up and back. I'm going to put the dead center in, see if that helps, because I don't know how good these bearings are. It's not helping anyway. I'm going to use some extreme pressure lube so I don't burn up the center. And I'm going to try to hand feed it, just taking like 5 thousandths at a time to see how this works out. Let's do that. Okay, I'm going to run the diameter, the RPMs as slow as I can. This is in low gear, back gear, and RPMs are turned all the way down. That's not really helping. I think what I'm going to have to do is put the steady rest back up here. That was holding it without vibrating. So I'm going to have to put the steady rest back up, take a cut for about 1.5 inches, make my mark, saw it off, and keep doing that, facing off the outside as I go. Let's try that. Okay, as you see, I have the steady rest back on here. I brought it back about a little over 2.5 inches. Trying to get a finish, I went down about 25 or 30 thousandths off of this. This is a decent finish. I'm going to catch up here, and then I'll take one final cut across. Let's do this. That was a 10 thousandths cut. I touched and went 10 thousandths. Probably gonna have to take another 10. This is the second 10 thousandths cut. I think what I'm going to do is just move this steady rest down and continue cutting. I moved the steady rest over about 3 inches to get my 4 parts out of if this works and I'm able to clean this up. Let's try it. This finish doesn't look too bad. What I'm going to do just to make it a little better is I have my lathe file. I'm going to hit it with that. Feels good. The reason I did this the way I did, well, it's because I couldn't get a good finish. It was jumping all over. And having to use this steady rest to get rid of the vibration tells me the bearings in here need to be changed to roller bearings. That's something I never changed. Everything is original. Plastic gears, the regular old bearings that are in there, which we all know aren't any good. But anyway, the reason I did it with the steady rest when I found it wouldn't work is in the 1970s, early 1970s, I used to work at a place and I made printing rolls on an old South Bend flat belt lathe. And they were like 2 foot in diameter, anywhere from 6 inch to 2 foot in diameter, and anywhere from 3 foot long to 15 foot long. And they were on centers on your journals, your spindles on the end. And a lot of times it just would vibrate too much. And what we did is use a steady rest. We'd turn for about an inch, move to steady rest, turn for an inch, and just keep miking, use a micrometer and mic over it to find out what size we were. And we'd finish with a lathe file. And that worked out just fine. So I figured if this didn't work, that's what I was going to do, and that's what I ended up having to do. Now, I'm going to put some marks where I need to cut off. Let's do this. This equals 5 3/4 inches. Half of that would be 2 7/8. Turn this on and put a mark with the Sharpie. Okay, that's where I'm going to cut it off at. And my plan is to cut off the first one, bring it back in, face it, cut off the second one. Let's see how this works. I'm going to hop in the saw and saw that off. First cut looks pretty good, but then that was a brand new blade. I just want to face this off so that I have a decent surface to put in the chuck so I can face the other side when I go to drill it and stuff. All four parts have been faced on one side and cut off in the saw. What I need to do now is face these down to size and drill a hole. I believe has to be around 3/8 inch diameter hole through the whole thing. Let's do that. I was going to face it off until I got a decent cleanup across the center, and then I'm going to drill right away. Let's do that. Okay, that's one. That's two. That's three. What I'm going to do now is drill right away. Let's do that. All right, I decided to go with a 25/64. That's 390 thousandths in diameter. Little 64th over 3/8. I'm not going to put a center in here. I'm going to try it without a center because they have a split center on them, and it should pick up the center. Let's do this. That was the sound of it breaking through the other side. Okay, let's get number two in there. Number three. And the last one. And that was number four. All right, I need to clean this up and we'll start facing this thing. I'm going to face these things now. I'm just going to keep taking cuts up against my dead stop. I'll measure this with my scale. Finish is 1 1/8 inches. And I have it about 30, 40 thousandths. I hope. Okay. You know, I'm going to rough the other 3 off camera, and I'll bring you back for the finished cut. All right, that's the 4th one. Let's see where this thing is at. 1 inch, 142. 142. 142. 142. The main thing is that they all were the same. 20 thousandths extra isn't going to hurt it. They go under an electric motor. In fact, this is for my Burke number 22 drill press, lifting the electric motor. So, the little machine made it. I had to change a few of my operations, but we made it through. Machining heavy metal. 4140 is a pretty pre-hard. It is pretty tough material. But we got through it. So I think this video is coming to an end. So I'm going to call it a wrap. And until next time, enjoy.